Welcome to the Story King, where every tale grips your heart and refuses to let go. You'd remember a night with me for the rest of your life. The Alpha King's voice was low, dangerous, and threaded with something that made the trembling Omega's breath catch. Promise. She stood before him with her head bowed, hands clenched in the coarse fabric of her dress, every instinct screaming at her to run. The throne room was vast and cold, carved from black stone that swallowed light, yet all she could feel was him. His presence pressed against her senses like a storm gathering strength. The Alpha King did not need to raise his voice. Power clung to him as naturally as shadow to flame. And tonight, she was his prisoner. The kingdom of Blackmore had been at war for 5 long years, pacts torn apart, borders soaked in blood, alliances shattered by betrayal. Omega villages suffered the most, crushed beneath the weight of politics they never chose. Lyra had learned early that survival meant silence. So when the soldiers came, she did not scream. She did not fight. She simply obeyed. Dragged from her quiet life at the forest's edge, Lyra was delivered to the heart of Blackmore Castle like an offering. The reason was whispered among guards and servants alike: the Alpha King needed an Omega. Not for mating, for leverage. King Kale Nightfang ruled with ruthless precision. His enemies feared him. His allies respected him. His people survived because of him. But tonight, as his molten gold eyes rested on Lyra, something ancient stirred beneath his iron control. She was smaller than he expected. Not weak, never that, but fragile in the way glass was fragile. Beautiful not in the polished way of courtly Omegas trained to please, but raw, unguarded. Her scent, soft jasmine tangled with rain, cut through the room like a blade. Kale's jaw tightened. This was a mistake. You know why you're here, he said, rising from the obsidian throne. Lyra swallowed. Because my village refused to bend. Because your people sheltered rebels. Her voice shook. They were wounded. His boots echoed as he descended the steps, each measured stride setting her pulse racing. When he stopped before her, she could feel the heat of him, the contained violence, the alpha dominance humming beneath his skin. Mercy, Kale said quietly, is expensive. She lifted her eyes then, just for a second, and saw something that made her breath stutter. Not cruelty, conflict. I'll do whatever you want, she whispered. Just, don't hurt them. Silence stretched. Then Kale surprised them both by laughing, a soft, humorless sound. You think I brought you here to break you? He circled her slowly, studying her like a strategist examining a battlefield. You tremble, yet you didn't beg until now. You smell of fear, yet your spine is straight. He stopped behind her. You are not what I expected. Lyra flinched as his hand brushed her wrist, not gripping, not claiming. Just there, the touch sent a spark through her veins. That was when he said it. You'd remember a night with me for the rest of your life. Her heart slammed painfully against her ribs. She turned, horror and confusion battling in her eyes. Is that a threat? Kale met her gaze steadily. No. Then, after a pause heavy with meaning, it's a promise. That night, Lyra was not thrown into a dungeon. She was given a chamber overlooking the moonlit forest, warm blankets, food that tasted like comfort she had forgotten existed. Guards stood outside, but none entered. Kale did not come. She did not sleep. When dawn painted the sky silver, she realized the worst part was not captivity, it was the waiting. Days passed. Each morning, news arrived of villages spared, soldiers withdrawn. Her people were safe, because of her. And each evening, Kale summoned her, not to his bed, but to council dinners, war briefings, long walks along the castle battlements where the wind howled like ghosts. He never touched her without permission. Never raised his voice. Never lied. You're afraid of me, he said one night as they watched the stars bleed into darkness. Yes, she answered honestly. Good, he murmured. Fear keeps you alive. Do you enjoy frightening me? He turned to her then, eyes sharp but tired. No, I enjoy knowing you still feel. The confession unsettled her more than cruelty ever could. The attack came without warning. Traitors breached the eastern gate under cover of fog. Chaos erupted. Screams echoed through the halls as steel met steel. Lyra ran. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to survive. She almost collided with Cale as he turned a corner, sword already slick with blood. The sight of him, feral, furious, should have terrified her. Instead, relief flooded her chest. "Stay behind me," he ordered. An assassin lunged from the shadows. Cale moved faster than thought. When it was over, Lyra was shaking, her hands stained red, not with blood, but with fear. Cale cupped her face suddenly, his touch grounding, urgent. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. His thumb brushed a tear from her cheek before he realized what he was doing. For a moment, the war faded. "I won't let them take you," he said fiercely. "Not tonight, not ever." Something broke open in her chest. "You don't have to protect me," she whispered. His forehead rested against hers, breath ragged. "I know." Later, in the aftermath, they stood alone in the ruined throne room. "You never told me why you really brought me here," Lyra said softly. Cale was silent for a long time. "Because I needed someone untouched by power," he finally admitted. "Someone who could remind me what I'm fighting for." "And that night you promised?" she asked. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "I wanted you to remember me as a monster," he said. "Instead, I fear, you'll remember me as a man." She stepped closer, no longer trembling. "I already do." By morning, the kingdom whispered a new rumor. Not of a captive Omega, but of a queen who stood beside the Alpha King, not claimed by force, but by choice. And as Lyra looked out over Blackmoor, she knew one truth beyond doubt. She would remember that night, not for fear, but for the moment the Alpha King chose affection over dominance, and changed both their fates forever. Thank you for watching. This is the Story King, where every ending lingers long after the last word.